everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll be learning about inertia. So what is inertia? Inertia is actually a property of an object. So due to inertia, the object remains in its original state. Now let's understand what inertia is in a less formal way. Okay, so basically, due to inertia, an object will remain in its original state until an external force acts on it. So basically, if an object is at rest, it remains at rest, and if an object is in motion, it remains at motion in a uniform and straight line until an external force acts on it. So let's say, for example, a notebook is sitting on a table. Now, the notebook is not going to slide off, it's not going to fall off the table, it's going to remain in the same exact position until an external force acts on it. And why does that happen? That happens due to inertia. The notebook stays in the same exact position on the table due to inertia. Now let's say you walk up to the table and you pick the notebook up. Now the notebook is no longer in its state of rest. The force you put on the notebook to pick it up was the external force that you applied on the notebook to break its state of rest. Okay, so now that we know what inertia is, let's understand the two types of inertia. They are inertia of rest and inertia of motion. So inertia of rest, I actually just gave you the example of the notebook. So now I'll explain it in a more depth way. So that notebook is actually sitting there due to inertia of rest, specifically due to inertia of rest. So the notebook stays there in the same exact position on the table due to inertia of rest until an external force acts on it. Okay, let's take an example for inertia of motion. So an example of inertia of motion would be, let's say, for example, you're in a car, and that car is moving in a uniform way in a straight line. So suddenly, the car driver pushes on the gas, and the car comes to an abrupt stop. So then you fly forwards. That happens. Now, why does that happen? Okay, so when the car is moving, your body is moving with the car. But when the car comes to a sudden stop, your body doesn't stop moving. It keeps going. So that's why you're plunged forward when the car stops so suddenly. But there's a seatbelt. So why is it, but the seatbelt keeps you from falling face forward, but the main question is, why did your body keep moving straight? Why did it keep moving when the car stopped? Now your body kept moving even though the car stopped due to inertia, but specifically inertia of motion. So your body kept moving forwards even though the car stopped so abruptly due to inertia of motion. Now, then you ask me, well, what's the external force? Now, the external force is actually the seatbelt. The seatbelt kept you from plunging forward and hitting your head somewhere. So it stopped you from your state of motion. Okay, now that we know about the two types of inertias and what inertia is, let's try to understand let's try to understand the relationship between Newton's first law of motion and inertia. So, Newton's first law of motion says that an object in motion stays in motion and an object at rest stays at rest until an external force acts on it. So, if you compare that to what inertia is, what is inertia actually? Quick reminder, inertia is a property of an object. So due to inertia, the object remains in its original state. So actually, if you see, Newton's first law of motion is the same thing as the law of inertia. So inertia isn't Newton's first law of motion. Newton's first law of motion is, yes, it's based on inertia, but Newton's first law of motion is actually the same thing as the law of inertia, not inertia itself. I hope you understood what inertia is and the two types of inertias and the relationship between inertia and Newton's first law of motion. If you have any questions, please comment them down below in the comment section. And remember to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!